Chantel here with Two Sisters Homesteading, and this is my southern homestead out here in East Texas. And we don't live here full time right now. We have a house in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're kind of out here on the weekends. I've been out here all week this week, getting some stuff done, but I cannot wait to live out here full time. Like, I'm watching the cardinals flying all around me right now, because we have tons of cardinals coming through right now. It's just something peaceful and lovely about being out here. Um, we have 40 acres out here. I'll show you here in just a minute. And there's probably about 6 properties here on our dirt road that we live off of in East Texas. And we have a camper. We're staying in a camper while we're out here right now until we build our house eventually. There's another camper that's out here. There's a mobile home, maybe 2 mobile homes. There's a few nice, just small houses. And then there's one gargantuan, like just amazingly gorgeous, beautiful, huge house with this stellar barn. And, it's just amazing. But nobody really cares. Nobody cares that we're in a camper. Nobody cares about the mobile home. The Joneses, nobody knows who they are or cares about them at all. Everybody has tons of equipment out here. So, even in a camper, we've got 3 4-wheelers, our tractor, we've got equipment out here. And that's true of everybody. Everybody has hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And everybody's just the same. We're all the same. We're all doing the same thing. And there's something really lovely about that. So we plan on building, a really beautiful house out here, and we'll downsize a little bit because we don't need, 4 bedrooms and an office when it's just the 2 of us. So we'll downsize a little bit, but we plan on having a beautiful house out here. But, until then, this camper, or when we tear the camper out because, it's really old and ugly, which I'll show you in a minute, and we put a small cabin in, like, that will be fine. And just really no one cares, which is so spectacular. So this is a little bit of it. I'll show you some more here in just a moment. And there's my husband's targets, and I'll show you because he has a target. He does target practice and shooting from a little blind he's made on the top of our roof. But we have 40 acres out here, and this is the most clear acreage right now. We're clearing about 7 to 10 acres more. So, we'll have a lot more pasture land. We plan on running some Texas Longhorns out here and raising some sheep as well. We also have 14 trees. That's what you see there. That pecan isn't wrapped, and there's an almond up front that isn't wrapped. But the fruit trees are wrapped in hardwire cloth just to keep the critters from eating the wood because the wood is sweet while they're young. So we've got 14 trees here, 2 almonds, 2 pecans, 2 peaches, 2 pears, 2 plums, 2 apples, 2 figs. And that is our homestead right now. That is one of the world's ugliest and oldest RVs. It is pretty hideous, and we bought it cash online, and it is working for what we need it to. So that is fine by us. You can see we've put a roof over it, and just to kind of help protect it from the elements, and also ensuring that we can sit on the porch even when it's raining, which is really nice. My husband has created like a little deer blind. He's got a bench there behind that camo fabric. And so he has a little place where he can target practice and hunt up there, which is nice. We do have a small kitchen inside, but I do most of my cooking outside because it's hotter than Hades in Texas, and why would you want to be inside of an RV? And that just means we have to run the air conditioner a little less. So we'll get a little closer, and I'll show you a little bit more how we're making this homestead run off grid out here, because we're in the middle of nowhere on a 3rd dirt road. As you can see, there ain't nothing around us. We don't have city water or electric out here, and to bring them out is just astronomical. So right now, this whole RV is running off that tiny little solar panel right there on top. Now, we are not running our air conditioner off of that right now. We don't have the battery power for that. So the AC is running by generator that we keep in the back. And the refrigerator is running off of propane, or the generator as well. The refrigerator runs on propane, which is nice. But everything else, our lights, our TV, Netflix that we're watching in the bedroom, everything else is running off of that solar panel. And then in that compartment, we have some big batteries, and that's holding the power to run everything. Now, as far as water, you can see on the porch there, we have some gutters going down. So we've got a 500-gallon water tank there, and that is solely right now for the purpose of irrigation. It's not filtered, it's not treated. There's an opening on the front where we can attach a hose to it, and that is just for like watering trees and plants with. So that is what that water tank is doing. And then I'll show you in the back the rest of our water tanks. Now here in the back, you can see my husband also has a gutter hooked up here, and the roof just slants slightly back, just slightly. And we have 2 more water tanks stacked right here. We have a third one over there that needs to go in the front and connect to the other. So we have 2 in the front and 2 in the back. This is 1,000 gallons of water right here. Now at the very top where that is going into the water tank, there at the gutter spout, we do have a mesh panel. Number one, the gutters are all covered by leaf guard. And then we have a second mesh panel right there at the top. So that keeps, you know, a lot of muck from going in to the water. And then as it meets the water tank there, we also have a finer, thinner, like a net guard that we have to clean out every so often. That's inside the water tank top there. So as the water comes in, it goes through that more thick metal mesh guard, and then it goes through this thin net mesh guard. We are also chlorinating this water, so we're throwing chlorine tabs in there just to keep it sanitized as well, because as you can imagine, running off the roof, that it's got contaminants in it. And then finally, here at the end, you can see we have a pump hooked up to that right now, so that we can pump it more easily through the hose or whatever we want. I also have a carbon filter. So before I run it into the RV, I connect that carbon filter to the end of the hose, and that carbon filter is one more last bit of filtration as it goes into the RV. The water has been filtered, it's been chlorinated, and now it goes through a carbon filter before it goes in. Now we're not drinking this water. This is just water for washing our hands, taking showers with, cleaning dishes, but we just still want to make sure it's as sanitized as we can for those purposes. There's the generator. And because we're, you know, living full country hillbilly out here, there's our outdoor shower. We hooked that up because it is hotter than hot here in Texas, pretty much March through October. It is just too hot to be in any kind of steamy shower inside an RV without air conditioned blasting, and even still, it's just not worth it. We have this hooked up, and it's through the water pump from the inside. It's coming from the inside water pump, and so that is lovely, and that's how we're showering most of the time. We rarely to never use indoors. This is currently one of our stock ponds. It's only about 1/4 of an acre, and we'll be digging another one of these when we clear our 10 acres of forest land and convert that into pasture. And we'd like to have a full acre pond for that second pond. So this will be significantly smaller than the full-size one that we're going to be digging. One thing that's really fun is this red that you see. Those are wild blackberries, and they are growing all along this overgrown back fence line in just droves. And so as summer hits and those become nice and ripe, a couple of them are already starting to turn black there at the bottom, and they're just everywhere. Another thing that is really great out here is while the forest is so thick that you can barely walk through it in most places, there are these little clearings all over the place. One of my favorite ones is back in the woods. There are like 5 huge oak trees, and there's just this perfect grassy, sunny clearing right in the middle where I want to put like a swing or something because I just love it. And it's not too far off of one of our trails, so it's not too off the beaten path. But here's another one, and this is where we're keeping our honeybees. I don't know how well you can see from the camera. They're swarming all around. My husband painted the Texas Rangers bee box there. One of my daughters painted the Winnie the Pooh honey. I'm not sure how well you can see it. One of them has just strawberries and cherries all over it. That was one of my other daughters. We did this for a little project, and there are our honeybee hives. This is the last piece of our homestead that we are still a work in progress. And we're going to put a tree house back here. Actually, there's a little trail that goes that way into a clearing with a couple big oak trees where the tree house is going to go. But this tree right here is just I mean, I'm in love with this tree. And so we kind of thought that the tree house would be the first thing we did. We would have it up and running for rent our first year of having the property. Well, now we've had the property 2 years and this is about as far as we've gotten. So not quite. But the idea is a house up in the trees. That would be a luxury, you know, like a hotel room. And as you can see, I mean, we have done some clearing, but it is just a giant mess. But the idea would be that you would feel like you were in the middle of the woods. No one could see you. There's nothing around. And that it would be a luxury space, a beautiful room with, you know, a bathroom and a small kitchenette area and a patio. That this would just be a beautiful space that we could rent to make some income out here. So this is probably one of my absolute favorite things. Pretty early on, there was no way to get onto the land because there's a home of the person we bought it from who's retained the front 10 acres. And so everything else to get onto our land was completely forest. And when I say like it is the woods, I mean it. It is the woods. Like when we are clearing our 10 acres, we are clearing thick woods. And so we had this road cut, and it's a 1,000-foot road to get back to our property, and just want to let you drive it with me. I say to get back to our property. This is all our property, but to get back to the open space of our property. So that's it. That's my homestead. In the coming years, lots of work to be done out here. We will be clearing that acreage of land. We'll be digging that other stock pond. Eventually, we'll be putting cattle and sheep out here, as well as I'll move my chickens out here. I hope next spring to do some of my gardening out here, to get a big melon and corn patch going, as well as a big sunflower patch going next year. Out here, but eventually we'll live here full time and everything will be out here. We'll raise turkeys out here as well. So lots coming to follow in the future. But really our whole plan out here is to be off grid. Raising our own food, growing our own food, living off the land, having solar power in our home. We've always thought we would dig a well, but more and more the rainwater collection is working so well that I think that we might continue to do that and just do a 10,000 gallon tank and do rainwater collection. I'll probably filter it differently. I would like to not chlorinate water that I'm drinking, and so we'll probably filter it differently, running it through a carbon filter and a UV filter as well. And so we would have like a professional filtration system put in so that we knew that our water was going to be clean enough, and getting the right kind of filtration that it needed to be for our home. But lots that's going to be happening in the coming years out here, and we're really excited about it.